players that you might use to guard somebody like Giannis, without giving away the game plan necessarily, but like maybe abstractly discuss what you're looking for in picking who's going to match up with you?
Well, I think you can be evasive without being abstract in this case. Because it really does require, multiple, people, multiple bodies, multiple players to try to limit his ability, to get in the paint and get to the rim. So, and the same thing in his isolation, some of his back downs, trying to keep him, can keep defenders between him and the basket, because once he breaks that line, he's so long and he's so athletic, and he's got great footwork that he's able to evade you when he gets, ends up in a dunk. So, whoever's, and particularly in transition situations, when you do get cross-matched, I think there just has to be a collective awareness that you got to try to keep him out of the paint, which is easier said than done. So, as you said, you can probably guess, just looking at the roster of the guys that have a chance of, staying in front of him and fighting him physically, and we've got to prepare to do that.
Speaking of abstract, is there any challenge in making sure your guys are up for another one like this when you just come off an emotional, couple of big wins recently?
Yeah, I thought that the Portland game could be a game after we played really well against Boston and won that first game, and I thought our guys handled that with a lot of maturity. They didn't get too high. Or certainly, as I said, I think you can feel good about a win. But particularly at this point in the year, they all count the same. All the old kind of cliches come into play, and they do because they're true. So have to be ready to go again. And this is one of the best teams in the league. So you got to be ready to execute a game plan and do all the little things that you have to do against a team of this caliber to win.
Quinn, when you look at Chris Middleton, I wouldn't think people really describe him as the most athletic guy. That doesn't pop off the page, but all of a sudden he gets an ISO and he's got an open shot and it's in the bucket. Just what you've seen from him over the years that I guess allows him to do that, despite maybe not being the athlete that other players might be.
I think you can probably expand the definition of athlete. There's a lot of people don't call Jokic an athlete, but he does some things that are really unique athletically. I'm not saying that Chris is Jokic, but he's a basketball player, and he's got size, he's got strength, and those things are assets. He can punish and mismatch. Even guys that are as big or bigger than him, he's able to shoot over them. So I think he uses his skill a lot of different ways, and even if a player is more athletic than him, he still can be a really, really hard cover. So I've watched him for a long time, and seen the things that he can do, putting the ball in the basket.
For those listening and seeing you guys over this last stretch where you guys have won the 4 straight games, kind of looking at the injury report from the outside, saying, how's this happening? How are they putting together this run of success? If you were to isolate, and I don't want to oversimplify things, but something that stands out to you that sort of lent itself, a common thread, if you will.
I guess the common thread is a multitude of things that all can be kind of classified as little things. I think, our discipline in getting back, our discipline in crashing the boards or getting hits on the defensive boards or being shifted where we need to be. There's been a lot of things from an executional standpoint, that we've done a better job in. I think, along with that, we've executed game plans. I think that's been big. Just the general focus of the group has been, in a really good place, and I think we're seeing some of that. We've had a lot of energy from the guys. We've got really good play from, Vee, who's a two-way, Trent, who was a two-way earlier in the year, Bruno, who was our third center, is, playing great. Wes, who's 37, has been, in and out during the year, has been terrific. He's gotten healthy he was battling some injury stuff. You know, Garrison, you've seen, he's gotten better. So some of these guys I think have been improving and haven't been able to see it because they haven't had a chance to play. And when you're in that situation, I think you really appreciate the opportunity and you jump all over it and take advantage of it and relish it. And those guys have really added that juice to our group. You know, and then I think that's picked other guys up too.
Quinn, you've talked in the past about staying together and connected and closing out defensive possessions with rebounds. In the last 4 or so games, it just seems that defensively, you guys have been able to put that all together. Is it as simple as just executing the plan, or is there something more to it?
I think it's a reflection of the work that these guys have put in over the course of the season. You know, I think, you know, we call them habits for a reason. You got to do them over and over again. And sometimes your, you know, an opponent will make you even more urgent or more aware that you have to do those things to have success. And there's other times it's human nature. You think hey, we don't need to do that. And you know, to become a really good team, that has to be what you do all the time. You know, and whether you're down or up or it's a back-to-back or all those different things. And I think our guys have begun to embrace that more. So there's more consistency. It's not just one guy getting more rebounds, it's us rebounding collectively with 5 guys. It means that I may not get the rebound, but I'm not gonna let, you know, my man get the rebound. And that approach, usually what happens is the whole becomes greater than the sum of the parts. And I think that's what we've seen. Okay, thanks.